Welcome to Luxury on Air, where we explore the trends, innovations, and personalities defining and redefining the luxury industry.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Luxury on Air podcast series. Today, I'm excited to be the host for two guests, Pauline Evequoz, who is Head of Corporate Sustainability at Chopard, and Frederic Dawance, Managing Partner at Pury Pictet Turrettini. Although Pauline and Frederic work in fairly different companies, they cross each other's paths quite regularly due to a very precious matter, or shall I rather say, a precious metal. Together with Pauline and Frederic, we will discuss responsible gold and its role in luxury consumption and wealth management. Pauline, Frederic, a very warm welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Felicitas.
Thank you, Felicitas. Great.
Let's start with Frederic. What does the Pury Pictet Turrettini do, and how are you involved with gold, or rather responsible gold, at your company?
So the Pury Pictet Turrettini is a Swiss wealth management firm founded in 1996 with assets under management of 6 billion. And we work closely with the main Swiss private banks, the Pictet Group, obviously, as we have historical family links with the bank, but others as well, like Lombard Odier, Julius Baer. And PPT is a pioneer in responsible investments, and we manage a mutual fund which helps private and institutional investors access responsible artisanal gold. Mm-hmm. The fund is called the Swiss Positive Gold, and it has been launched 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And how come that you meet sometimes, Pauline? What is your link to the luxury industry?
Well, first of all, we do visit the mines like Pauline does, and hence we meet underground, which is always a nice opportunity to discuss. But also we have a very important inventory of artisanal responsible gold. And from time to time, the jewel makers, the watchmakers need some artisanal gold, and they can purchase it here through us. Through the fund.
Okay, thank you. And Pauline, you are from a company that is actually a spearheading company when it comes to responsible gold, because in 2018, Chopard announced at Basel World, at that time it still existed, that it would be the first luxury watch and jewelry house to use only responsibly sourced gold. That was quite a bold move, I would say. How did this come about? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, everything started, a couple of years ago. 2010, maybe somewhere like this, when we realized that we did not know much, about the origin of our gold. So, at the time we would call the bank and order some kilos and not ask really so many questions. And the problem with this, is the fact that gold is linked to quite a number of social and environmental challenges, so it can be extracted in difficult countries. We'll talk about it later on, but there are a couple of social and environmental important challenges linked to the gold. So if you don't know the origin, the problem is that you cannot really control this impact. You cannot really mitigate anything. And for a company like Chopard, I think gold is one of the most, if not the most important material we use, in our jewelry, in our watches. And so definitely it was the right decision, the logical decision, to start this journey with this complex important material that is gold, and working, progressively to integrate more responsible gold, traceable gold, until we were confident enough to really make this claim in 2018. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's now in its 6th year, right? We are in 2024 now. We will talk a little bit about how your consumers respond to that, how important it has become for them. But before we do that, I would like to hear from you, Pauline and Frederic. Can you explain a little bit what responsible gold actually means for your company or for your brand? Because this is kind of a blurry term for many people. So what does responsible gold really mean?
So who starts first?
Pauline.
Okay. But first, at Chopard, what we call ethical gold. So this is the name we chose rather than responsible gold. But first, ethical gold is really gold verified as having met international strictest environmental and social standards. That's the first thing. And the two sources we accept as of today are on one side the Responsible Jewelry Council chain of custody certified gold, which is recycled gold sources. And for those who don't know, the Responsible Jewelry Council is really the recognized standard in our industry, in the jewelry and watch sector, so specialized in supply chain for precious metals and precious stones. So very important standard for us. And the second source is accredited artisanal mines by the Swiss Better Gold, which is a Swiss initiative, or fair mine certified artisanal mines by the Alliance for Responsible Mining. And all those mines are now at the moment located in Peru and in Colombia. And to tell you a bit more about these two sources, so the breakdown for us, it's approximately now 70% of our gold come from artisanal mines. So these accredited mines from these two standards. And 30% comes from this COC certified gold. And we want to keep this proportion. I mean, we have a threshold at 60% for artisanal mines. We want to keep the majority of our gold coming from these artisanal mines, and we could increase progressively as well. But we have this balance between artisanal mines and recycled gold.
And for you, Frederic, what does a responsible gold mean?
Yes. Actually, as Pauline said, gold is not good or bad on its own. It's the way it is mined, the way it's refined, the way it is traded that makes it good or bad. And we do work with different labels to get responsible gold, ethical gold. For us, what is very important is the idea of traceability and impact. The traceability, because traceability is the ability to track, segregate the gold by its origins. And this is essential to enforce the right attitude along the value chain, from the miners to the refiners to the client. And then regarding the impact, gold mining generates income for 20 million people around the globe. And these are mainly artisanal miners. So obviously, if you can enforce better practices in this field, positive gold can be or will be a tool for development of these miners and communities.
Mm-hmm. So traceability and impact, this is what I hear from you as the two standards for responsible gold. If I may ask a little bit more about the traceability aspect. If you look into the supply chain of gold, there are so many steps involved. How do you ensure this traceability? What are measures or tools that you're using to ensure this traceability?
Actually, there are competing systems in place today. Most refiners have their own traceability system. And now the LBMA, which is the main association for gold traders, has agreed to a common standard. Mm-hmm. So we will see how we will develop further. But the idea is always the same, is either, usually backed by a blockchain or something like this, to have the gold registered at each and every step of the process, and then make sure that it doesn't get aggregated with different gold. Because, if you trace from the mine to the trader, from the trader to the airport, from the airport to Switzerland, something like this, and then you mix it all together at the refiner, it is not traceable anymore. So you have to trace, so really have a mark going, from the mine to the refiner, and then make sure that you never mix the gold together, that you segregate it all along. Mm-hmm.
This is a pretty intricate task, I imagine, to really monitor this purity of the gold, right? That from the start to the end.
And it's very interesting because if you think about it, Recycling gold is an important part of the gold that we are using in this industry, the watchmaking industry, and it is very important for a circular economy to have recycling gold. But it is definitely detrimental for traceability of gold. Recycling gold, you don't know where it comes from. This is the reason why for the Swiss Positive Gold Fund, we're not using recycling gold, but focus really on traceable artisan gold.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for also making the distinction between the responsible and the recycled gold. We will come to the challenges of recycled gold a little bit later. Maybe for our listeners, there are still some terms that they're not familiar with. And I heard Pauline and you, Frederic, too, talk about two different sorts of mines. First, on the one hand, the artisanal and small scale gold mines, which even sounds a little bit romantic. Artisanal mines, and on the other hand, the large-scale industrial gold mines. Can you explain a bit the difference between them and the specific challenges for each? Maybe Pauline?
Yeah, sure. So I will try to make the definition not so romantic. I'm sorry for that, but so I think the large-scale gold mining sector is, we can say, capital intensive. They use sophisticated method of production, and they normally are governed by strict regulatory norms. So these are really, companies, very often public listed companies. They have, multiple certifications, there are multiple controls, etc. And as the name speaks for itself, I mean, they extract quite an important volume of gold as well. On the other hand, then you have the artisanal and small-scale gold mining, what we call the ASM. And this is pretty much the opposite. So this is more labor-intensive. They use quite simple production methods. And as Frederic said before, it's, the livelihoods it provides to so many people. I mean, 20 million men and women live from this activity, and it's now the source of 20% of the global gold production. So it's not nothing, right? It's quite significant. Then when it comes to the challenges, I think the list is quite long for the ASM, but I can name a couple. These operations, so these small operations, generally occurs outside formal legal structures. So that's a huge problem in this industry. You have a lot of informal organizations. You also hear a lot about mercury use of highly toxic substances. So this is quite often in this sector. They do not always use health and safety equipment. They do not have necessary trainings in this field. So, and the list goes on and goes on. So quite a lot of challenges.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, right? Because maybe as a consumer, when you hear that, like artisanal gold, and the first time I heard that, thought about craftsmanship and all those terms that you want to hear in the luxury industry, but actually it is a sign of a very little regulated mines where there's a lot of issues and a lot of risks for workers who are working in these mines. So I think that's very important also for the people who are not expert in these matters to understand what it really means, these terms, and where that gold comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you always see scary pictures of this ASM and the press is always quite negative about it. And of course, I mean, this is true that there are challenges. You need to speak about these challenges because otherwise you don't understand also, why you take this journey. But at Chopard, that's also, why we decided to really focus on ASM and not source any gold from LSM because, the leverage, the impact you can have on these small operations are really important. I mean, compared to LSM where, as a company like ours, you cannot really have any influence and the processes are already in place, etc. So ASM, you really have this room for improvement and need for support and definitely the opportunities for impact are really really important. Yeah, and the traceability also. I mean, this combine, these two opportunities. You have impact and you have traceability, as Frederic mentioned as well at the beginning. So it's also two very important aspects for us.
So that means where the biggest challenge lies, you also have the potentially biggest impact, right? If you do
Absolutely.
it right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So talking about those mines, you have said, Frederic and Pauline, you have seen them with your own eyes. What we sometimes at best see in the press or in some pictures, but how is it to travel there, and what do you experience there? That must be very impactful for yourself, right? So Frederic, maybe you can share what you have seen and what touched you the most up to now traveling there.
Yeah, during my different trips, actually, I visited 3 types of mines. The first one, the alluvial panning, I think this is how you say it. It's really the most artisanal type of gold extraction. You go in the river and you just dig the sand and try to find gold. Mm-hmm. The second one is a bit more industrial, larger. It's an open pit mine, when you really grab the ground and try to find the gold. And then the last one is underground mine. For me, the most impressive was the Peruvian underground mining. It dates back from the ancient Inca culture and the conquistadors, and going down deep in the mountain on wooden, shabby wooden ladder, feeling the heat rising, discovering the gold vein, the local artisanal miners digging the stone. It's still a vivid memory. It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm. So really a natural experience, if I understand correctly. Mm-hmm. And any aha moments you had where you said, wow, this is, I don't know, something that really, as you said, it stays forever, but something that completely changed your view of something?
It's, again, in this Peruvian mine, the aha moment was really to go down and down and down and down. We went down 450 meters, something
wow.
like this. And you have these people, smiling, joking, working carefully, and then coming back up the ladders, back to their homes, back to their communities. This is really an aha moment, as you said.
Mm-hmm. How warm is it down there? I have no idea.
Difficult to tell, but you really feel it go down and down, and it gets warmer and warmer, and the air is more humid, and the smell is different. It's a different environment, really.
A second world underground. Wow.
A very narrow one, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Pauline, what is for you the most lasting impression or story that you could share from your visit?
Yeah, I traveled a couple of times, visiting all these mines where we are sourcing from, with the Swiss Better Gold team. So they organize these very interesting trips. Now, I think these experiences, they are really, critical to really understand, what is the local context, what the difficulties also they face, So sometimes you're a bit disconnected, right? In your Geneva offices, you're like, okay, this should be like this or like that. And, you hear about people saying like, oh, after all, they should stop, extracting gold. They should just, let's do recycle gold. And, that's it. These people, they should do something else. And yeah, that's when you visit these operations, I mean, you understand also the culture they have, about gold, gold panning, in these rivers. I mean, this has been there for generations and generations, centuries, and people are very, I mean, that always strikes me, how proud they are to really, explain what they do, to show their operations, all the good practices as well they have implemented. So it's always very, I think, inspiring to see these people talk about all this. So it changed really your notion of what is mining to see a bit things a bit differently. So yeah, very enriching.
Thank you very much. I think there is a lot to unpack here. On the one hand, it's, if I understand correctly, a whole culture around, right? We cannot just go there and say, well, this is bad for the environment and bad for the health of the workers there. But it is a whole culture that has been built up over centuries, and you cannot just cut it and just order, you have to stop, because what would these people then do otherwise, right?
Absolutely.
And then, and on the other hand, as you say, the disconnect that as people sitting in Geneva or being in a luxury boutique or sitting in the office, that we have maybe ideas that need to come to life when you go there and when you see the things with your bare eyes, and also the impact that it has on you in your decision making. And I wonder, as clients, you don't have this experience. So how much do customers really care about the living conditions and the culture and everything that happens in these mines in the decision process? What is your own experience? How much do people care? Maybe Frederic, in the decision process of your customers.
Yeah, I think the first decision process is to own gold for a client. Gold is a natural complement to equity and bonds in a portfolio because it has historically delivered positive returns, and especially in times of market stress. We can remember the 2008 market crash, the Brexit in 2006, the COVID, obviously, and now Ukraine and Middle East. So gold has always been something that is part of a balanced portfolio. Now the question is, which kind of gold do you want? And here, if you look now at a broader financial market, in the financial market as a whole, investment funds that apply ESG criteria have taken the lead somehow in the asset management industry. It's still a minority, but they account for over 30% of the recent inflows. So in the financial world, and impact funds are going a step further. ESG funds are often based on exclusion criteria, whereas impact funds are more pragmatic, focused on the evolution and the potential improvement. Mm-hmm. And here, if we now go back into gold, we believe that it's important to have both the normal gold ETF and solutions that are more impactful in more ESG, like the Swiss Positive Gold Fund. And this is a discussion we have with our client. Always try to give the choice. Say, do you want rather to have a kind of normal ETF, or you rather want to have a solution that is more impactful, more ESG ethical driven? And for us at PPT, a majority of our clients have subscribed to the Swiss Positive Gold Fund instead of traditional gold ETFs, I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's good news. What would you say? Is that an emotional or a rather rational decision when people say, yeah, okay, let's go for the Swiss Positive Gold?
From half of our clients are institutional clients, and they are basically at how can I say this? They are really looking at responsible investing, and among others, pension funds close to the Red Cross, churches are subscribing to the Swiss Positive Gold Fund, mm-hmm. and this is because they want to align their investments with their mission. Mm. And so for them, it's really a rational decision. It's aligning investment and mission. For our private clients, it is more an emotional decision. Swiss and European clients are often very well traveled. They are aware of the importance of building responsible artisanal value chains to improve the social and the environmental condition of local communities. They have experienced it firsthand, and hence for them it is more emotional, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So your clients, your private clients, they are aware and maybe even experienced with the conditions in those countries where that gold comes from?
In the countries, yeah. South America, definitely, mm-hmm. Africa and so on. They are not aware of the gold mining details, obviously. But very few of them have visited gold mines. But the whole question of the local communities, the artisanal work, the ethical value chain, yes, they are definitely sensible.
Mm-hmm. What I find also very interesting is what you're saying about the institutional clients, that yes, it is a rational decision, but you said that it also needs to be aligned with their mission. So we could even say it's kind of a values-based decision, if I got that correctly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you remember a few years ago, there was a movie called Dirty Gold, something like this, a Swiss movie actually, talking about gold in Amazonia, and the problem, the awful situation of gold miners over there. And imagine now that if you have a general assembly or a pension fund meeting, someone raises a hand and says, where does my gold come from? And if you're unable to say, I know where it's coming from, I know that it's not coming from Amazonia, I know that it is not the gold that you've seen in this Dirty Gold movie,
mm-hmm.
Well, then you're in trouble. So it's pretty rational to say, I want to know where does my gold comes from. I have a fiduciary duty to the people I manage money from, like in the pension fund case. And with this fiduciary duty comes a duty to understand where my gold is coming from, like my assets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Pauline, how does that work for you? Like, does the responsible gold play a role for the end consumer in the luxury boutique? Is that, for example, something that Chopard integrates into the sales ceremony?
No, it is. I mean, definitely responsible gold is important for customers. I think, like nobody wants to buy, fantastic pieces of jewelry or watch like with dirty gold, if we take the term again. So the trend is definitely we receive more and more questions from customers about the origin, of the materials we use. But in terms of sales ceremony, all our sales team are trained on sustainability topics and especially on the ethical gold program. So they really use this message to really engage the conversation, I would say. So it's a very nice way to engage dialogue. What we hear is that the clients are always very curious, then asking questions. If they were not asking questions proactively, so then when the sales team talk about it, then they always keen on really knowing more about what's behind the scene. I would say, and that's the advantage also in the luxury sector, is that you have this quality time, right, with the client. You can really take time to, of course, talk about all the characteristics of the product, but really take time to explain these stories, and these are complex things to explain. I mean, ethical gold is not an easy thing to explain. The definition, the technicalities, and of course the sales team, like the clients, they've never been visiting the mines either, so it's very far from them as well. So it's also the training is really critical here to make them understand what really is behind all of this.
And you already mentioned that there are some clients coming asking proactively for the responsible gold. Is that a percentage that is still small, or can you see it growing?
We see it growing, definitely. I think it depends a little bit on the markets as well. Maybe the markets, in Europe, in France, especially, they are asking much more questions. So we are monitoring that. But I think also with the young generation, comes more questions as well. So definitely, and sometimes also what you hear in the actuality, like the press. We also get questions, from precious stones, for instance. You hear a lot of different stories. So definitely, I mean, the context and the fact that maybe the clients, getting younger, then you have more curiosity and wanting to know about the origin and the conditions, of course.
And is there any feedback you're getting from clients? I mean, especially being the first mover, 2018 Chopard. It's kind of a unique selling proposition at that time, and still holding, probably being able to say we were the first ones and we are really spearheading this responsible gold initiative. Do you get any feedback from clients?
No, I think it's a strong argument for the sales team. Definitely, also they are, I think, proud also to explain all these stories and the achievements. Of course, it's a very nice, story to tell. We hear a lot about the clients saying like how wonderful it is to have a maison like Chopard, that is really sustainability driven. And I think that we hear a lot of these feedbacks. Also, the clients who know the Schöffele family, so the co-presidents of Chopard, they are also very sensitive about these topics. They really, convey this message. They send really a strong signal when talking about sustainability and ethical gold. So definitely, I think the clients, they always are very sensitive about it, like saying, okay, that's a very nice that's a very, very nice message, and we are so happy to see that the maison cares so much about these topics.
That's very nice. I mean, it also it has a nice side effect, I guess, because some people still feel a little bit of guilt when they go luxury item shopping. There is some research about that. And I think this also is a nice aspect to help you ease a little bit this feeling of, okay, I'm not that guilty because at the same time, I'm also doing something good, right?
That's a win-win situation, indeed.
Exactly. And how is it for you, Frederic, in your business? Do you get any feedback, or maybe also feedback on they want more of these kind of impact products, or how do you perceive people's impression of your initiatives?
So clients like innovative solutions, and especially when they generate positive impact. That's for sure. Now the reality, as Pauline said, it is more the younger generation that is really sensitive to the matter. What is interesting is that the authorities are now pushing in the financial world, I'm saying, pushing for greater transparency, especially in the ESG and impact asset management industry. And so we have kind of two movements for us. One, which is regulatory, with this push towards a more transparent, more ESG solution. And the second one, which is really demand-driven, which is the younger generation, which shy away from investment solutions that have a negative impact or no impact at all, in favor of, in fact, impactful solutions. Yes.
Interesting. So there's even not only a nice to have, but really you must have this. Otherwise,
we're not there yet, but this is definitely the goal.
Now, my $1 million question, of course, is: are clients and customers willing to pay a premium for responsible gold? Frederic.
That's a very interesting thing. Maybe one thing that we should do prior to answering this question is talking a little bit about the Swiss Better Gold Association. We touched upon this with Pauline, and it will explain a little bit why we have a price to pay for this artisanal gold. The Swiss Better Gold Association is a non-profit organization that was founded in 2013, and it groups all financial industry and traders that are active in Switzerland in the gold sector. So we're talking really the jewelers, the watchmakers, really the people that are touching the gold. And it was created to tackle issues faced by artisanal and small-scale mining producer. We talked about, the child labor, mercury pollutions, informality, and so on. The association works together with the Swiss authorities, with the SECO, on the ground to help the mining communities to improve their technological, organizational, social practices. And today, the SBG has been working with nearly 130 mines, so it's a big organization. It is extracting 4 tons of gold, of artisanal gold per year, mainly in Peru, Colombia, and Bolivia. But in its model, The gold that is artisanally produced by these mines is bought by the Swiss members at a higher price than the LBMA gold fixing, which is the average gold price that we have. And the difference is reinvested in favor of local communities and the miners. And as such, you have a price difference between this quality gold from the Swiss Better Gold organization and the normal gold you can purchase, on the London Bullion Market Association. Actually, the price difference is a bit more complex than this. You have two sources of price difference. On one hand, you have the mines and the refiners that charge a little traceability and segregation costs because they have to work differently to handle this segregation and traceability. And this has a little cost. And the second is the premium I just discussed, the Swiss Better Gold premium. And this premium is of $1,000 per kilo of gold produced. So the way we handle it, and it's a bit different from Pauline and the industrial world, but for our clients, the price difference, this premium, is included in the solution, and the Swiss Positive Gold Valuation Agent takes the premium in account in the net asset value calculation of the fund. And hence, the investor, they buy and they sell the fund on this basis, which means that they buy and sell including the premium, which means that you don't lose the premium, you pass it along to the next investor. And the next investor can be either another investor or a watchmaker or industry player who will then integrate this positive gold in his production.
I think this is super important to know, right? Because I think that is a question that every investor or every customer asks themselves, like, what is the rationale behind for the price and why is there maybe a difference and where does it go? So this is super enlightening. Thank you very much for that. You said it's different than in the industry, in the private industry when it comes to the brand. So Pauline, how is it with customers in the luxury boutique and their willingness to pay a premium for responsible gold?
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit different in the sense that, the client, they come and buy like already a very expensive product. They pay a high price because, of course, the exceptional savoir-faire, and the fact that they can trust the maison on the origin and on the responsible practices. So I think it's a sort of package somehow, and it's an absolute must-have today. I mean, it's not. I think maybe a couple of years ago when everything started, when we started with Fairmined product, because there were not a lot of volume. We could say, okay, this is a special product because this is gold from certified mines, etc. But now you have to integrate that on all your production and your collections, and you cannot really make really the difference today between one standard product and one that is from responsible gold in product. So yeah, I think it's more about like must have to make sure that all your origins are known, that the good practices are in place. And now, at least since 2018, all of our products now are branded as ethical gold. So at Chopard, you don't have any, collection standing out compared to the others. So it's a bit difficult to answer the question about the willingness of really paying a premium. I think today, and when you see also about the other maison, I think everybody has this. This sourcing of responsible gold and making sure that the industry can provide the necessary guarantees to their clients.
Although I personally think what Frederic just explained, that that there is a reason why there is more money needed to also help those communities and ensure better working conditions and ensure a better gold, right? That is clear that there is some money needed to put into, and you as a final client can actually contribute to that. So I think it would even be important to tell the clients that they are helping to make those living conditions better for the people, not just having to pay a higher price for something which is very far away from themselves, right? But eventually, it looks like rather being a hygiene factor that you have to take care that your supply chain is clean and everything is done well, and how you do it is your problem as a brand.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's also part of the story that we tell, about ethical gold is really about emphasizing about the program we have, which is, artisanal mines, and to explain how we do, and that we pay a premium, and that we help, also support the technical assistance as well of these operations, as well as, contributing to social and environmental progress on the ground. So it's really about, conveying also the right message, for sure.
Absolutely. What do you think? I mean, we talked a lot about solutions already. Looking ahead, what are the trickiest issues around responsible gold that you're seeing from your different industries right now? And what are the challenges that the companies should be tackling to move forward? Frederic?
Yes. This is a difficult question, obviously. The gold industry is a difficult industry, and gold extraction is a very dangerous process. There are many risks associated with artisanal small-scale mining. Mining is inherently it's very dangerous. You can think of, as I discussed before, going down underground, digging, but you also have to realize that gold is a very precious metal that is, how can I say this? When people know that you have gold, obviously you attract more people. You have armed forces, you have all the security problems, you have all the. It's really difficult, and if I come back to the mines, accidents have occurred, will occur, and every effort must be made to minimize the risk of these accidents occurring. And this is the reason why, even if it's a dangerous industry, even if from a reputational point of view, sometimes you have stories that come out that are really difficult. We believe that it is important to continuously working with the miners, make sure to increase the health and safety environment in the mines, make sure that you have a step-by-step process towards all this formalization, security, health and safety. It's an ongoing journey. It's something that we have to start small, as I said before. 130 mines. This is only a small part of all the mines. Only a few countries, Peru, Colombia, Bolivia, and then extend this to more mines, more countries, and make sure that when an accident occurs, we don't shy away and disappear, but continue to work with the mines and help them grow stronger.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Pauline?
Yes. No, I think there are a couple of challenges for sure. The first one being a question of volume. I think I second what Frederic says as well. It's the fact that you have to find and to source quality gold, and it takes time to prepare these mines. It takes time to reach the criteria and to have this responsible gold. So we are not a small manufacturer. So we need a couple of kilos to produce our pieces, and definitely the volume when we talk about an ASM, this is always something that will remain challenging, and the stability, because of course some mines would choose to leave some initiatives, or stop stop to get the label, or stop the certification, or sometimes they would be not eligible anymore also to get certified. So that there are a couple of things that can happen along the way. Political instability as well, linked to these countries, so that can jeopardize all the the possibility also of the team to work on the ground and to accompany these mines. So these are a couple of challenges. The reputation, also Frederic talked about, accidents. It's a risky sector for sure. So you might, you have to take into account the fact that, accidents may happen, has happened, and you have to do everything to mitigate that. But it's a fact. It's a risky sector. And I think also an interesting aspect is this tension also between this S, the social aspect, and E as an environmental aspect sometimes, because people will say, okay, you should absolutely, stop mining. As I said before, you have to stop extracting, stop mining. So let's do recycle gold, and it will also lower your carbon footprint. And on the other side, some people say, okay, recycle gold is greenwashing. You have to support these communities because that's where you can solve the problem. You have the key to solve the problem. So you have to, balance a little bit these arguments, and to make sure that your strategy is robust to make sure that you can have this balance between the fact that you want to have an impact with these communities, and at the same time you want to maybe also to make sure that you have a strong and reduced carbon footprint as well. So these are complex issues, when you talk about sustainability strategy, and that you have to take into account.
Yeah, I think that shows really the complexity and the multifacetedness of the problem. When you tweak one thing, it might have a negative impact on another aspect, which then has to be tackled. So I think that also explains why the whole discourse is so difficult to understand, because there are so many different levels of problems intertwined that cannot be easily resolved with a one shot and one single solution. Now, for me as a customer to navigate this complexity, if I want to make sure that the gold I'm buying, either I'm investing into or that I'm buying through a luxury item or through a jewelry item, what do I need to ask for? Pauline.
I think you have to ask some questions. That's probably the first thing, because when people don't ask, they're exactly the same, like, for us, the end customer, it's one, they're one, piece of the chain. So that's exactly for us. We have to ask questions to our refiners, to different, actors in the supply chains. So definitely, as a customer, you need to ask questions as well, because that will also make things move a little bit as well. So to ask about the origin, you have to ask about any certificate that you can gather to prove the origin, and gather information also on the website, on sustainability reports. So I think it's a question of digging a little bit more and asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of certificates or labels, Frederic, is there anything that your customers can ask for to get a very clear idea? Is something really responsible, or is something just gold washing or greenwashing?
Oh, sure. The idea is definitely not to promote any specific label. Again, going back to traceability and the impact, it's as Pauline said, you have to ask question, is it traceable? What kind of impact does my gold have? This is the first question. Then you have label. We already talked about the Swiss Better Gold, which in my eyes is the best label or scheme, because it is really industry-led, and it is supported by the Swiss authorities, by all the main players in the gold business in Switzerland. It has a very measurable impact on the ground, so it is very important. We have other labels like the fair trade, the Tavelar banana fair trade. Well, actually, fair trade has a range of gold coming from Peru, mm-hmm. and you can purchase small ingots, 10 grams, 20 grams, 50 grams for Christmas or anniversary, something like this. Mm-hmm. fair trade gold. And you have a few other labels, but I would say that the Swiss Better Gold and fair trade are the two main ones.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. This gives us a little bit of a guidance. And with that, I would like to slowly come to the end of our podcast. We always have a more personal question. And my question to you is, what you both, Pauline and Frederic, most loved about the countries that you visited for your work in?
Besides the beautiful nature and the landscapes that are always amazing, because you of course you spend time in cars, driving to visit all these operations. So this is always beautiful to see. But on a more specific point, I think I'm always very impressed about these people. I mean, that I meet in these countries, because these miners, they, despite all the difficulties they face, the difficult context, sometimes also political context, they are always, they don't take no for an answer, and they really want to do good. And I'm always, I'm like, they spend sometimes 20 years trying to get their permits, to formalize, on board some initiatives, trying to comply with all these criteria, and they really, they really motivated people, and they really want to do good, and it's always, good to observe that, good to see, and it's I always come back, very inspired by these guys, and it gives you some hope. So I guess that's always the very good impression I always get from these travels and these countries.
Thank you, Frederic.
I completely share Pauline's view. Gold mines are usually in very remote places, beautiful places. When you visit them, you live on the camp with the miners, you sleep in the dormitory, you eat in the canteen. And it is the best part, because this is when you can really interact with the miners, with the communities, and feel the strengths, feel the hopes. It's the beautiful moments. Yeah.
Wonderful
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Many, many thanks for this very illuminating, but at the same time also very touching conversation, where we as luxury aficionados, but maybe also as investors, learned a lot. So a big thank you and good luck on your mission. I think you're really on a big mission, and it was just a big pleasure having you both here, and hope to speak soon again.
Thank you for listening to Luxury on Air with Karim Segedi and Felicitas Morhart. This podcast is provided to you by Deloitte Switzerland and the Swiss Center for Luxury Research. If you've enjoyed this episode, you can leave us a 5-star review. If you're keen to stay up to date on what's trending in the luxury industry, don't forget to subscribe. As always, you can find more information about the current episode in the show notes. We wish you all the best. Until next time.